and welcome back to Sense and Sensitivity. Today I'm going to be talking about facial oils for rosacea-prone skin and hypersensitive skin. This is the last category of skincare that I use that I haven't yet discussed on my channel. So I'm really excited because facial oils have been part of my regimen for many years, much before I got my rosacea diagnosis, but they have played an integral role since getting my diagnosis in taking care of my skin and rebalancing my barrier. So today I have 6 oils that I've used or am currently using that I'm going to review for you. So I love oils because they just moisturize the skin in a different way than lotions and creams. However, I am a big proponent of both. I know that over the past maybe 5 to 10 years, a lot of people have started only using oils as their moisturizer, and then there's been this controversy with, well, oils don't hydrate, they only moisturize, so if you don't have some sort of water hydrating ingredient underneath, it'll just kind of sit on top of the skin as like a film or a layer without properly penetrating. And that's kind of how a lot of the popularity around hyaluronic acid and other serums has really grown, as that combination of the water step plus the oil step to kind of create that emulsion that a cream would provide with the separate ingredients or the separate products. And so it sounds like that works for a lot of people. For me, I really noticed, especially since getting my diagnosis of rosacea, that when I cut back to bare bones, it was cleansing and moisturizing with a lotion that really started to get me on the right path. And I really noticed a difference in the suppleness and texture and sensitivity of my skin since using lotions consistently. So I really can't see myself without them. I do sometimes just use an oil, like sometimes in the morning I'll just apply oil and no lotion because I'm going to put sunscreen on top, which the ones I use are cream emulsions, and I find that that's fine, and that's something I do to limit the amount of ingredients I'm putting on my skin at the same time. But other than that, when I'm doing my nightly skincare routine, I always use a lotion or a moisturizer. I do sometimes forgo additional oil altogether, but I never skip lotion or cream. So what I like to do with oils is add them to my creams, a couple drops into a couple pumps, or a couple drops on top after I've put a cream or a serum on. And that does seem to kind of seal everything in and give me a little bit of a boost of a barrier and a cushioning effect that's really nice, really comforting. I use them all year round. Sometimes I'll switch off the density or thickness of an oil depending on the time of year, or in the summer I'm more likely to skip it more days than not, and then I'll add it back in a couple times a week. I think that really depends on the environment you're in. I'm in Southern California, so even in the summer it's incredibly dry. And if you're being exposed to a lot of air conditioning, that can be drying too. So oils can be beneficial in that sense, even when it is hot. But I do notice that oils can create more of a heat sensation than gels and creams. So that's why I like to play with the textures and the density of the oil. And I'll kind of point out some of those things as I go through the review. So I'm going to start with my tried and true OG that I always have around, and it is Argan Oil. I'm loving the Kahina Argan Oil. I've used it in the past, and then I got it in the See New box that I reviewed a few months ago. And I think Argan Oil is amazing. It's very moisturizing without feeling too heavy. It never makes me break out, and it definitely has a calming effect on the skin. It is so gentle, and I react really well to it. I love that it's a 1 ingredient product, because that means if I am using a lotion, which typically has a longer ingredient list, adding this for additional moisture, it's only adding 1 extra ingredient and not a bunch more, which can sometimes be overload for sensitive or rosacea prone skin. So I love having single ingredient oils around. It doesn't have a scent. The texture is beautiful. It's a clear colored oil, maybe a very light pale yellow color. and I just think it's delightful. I've used it for many years. I know it has a high concentration of vitamin E, which really helps with elasticity and smoothness of the skin. But I just think this is an all-around great oil, and I will always have it around. I'd say my other ride or die besides the kahina is another single ingredient oil, and it is squalane oil. I use the Indie Lee squalane oil. I don't have it with me because I forgot I was doing this review and recycled my last bottle of it, but I've used that oil on and off for years. I think it's wonderful. It's a more lightweight oil, so if you tend to be more oily but still sensitive or have rosacea, or it's the summer and it's very humid where you live, I think that would be a great oil to try. It again helps with elasticity, moisture, creating that supple skin, and again, it's just very calming. Alright, the next oil I'm going to review is by Flora & Bast, and it is a CBD oil. I have a little mini here, but I've gone through probably 3 or 4 little ones as well as a full-size 1 ouncer. This was the oil I used exclusively for probably the past year until kahina came back into my life, and now I've kind of switched over to that one because I needed to take a break from CBD just for personal reasons. But this oil is incredible. It's in a base of like a refined coconut oil, and I think it has some hemp oil, and then it has the CBD, which has been shown clinically to significantly reduce inflammation when taken internally as well as applied topically. I had really a good experience with this oil in my skincare. Again, I would add a couple drops either into my lotion, or more typically what I do with this one, because I believe the website says to apply it directly to skin, is that I would cleanse my skin, spray some mineral water, and apply a few drops of this, like drop per cheek, and then forehead and chin and the rest of my face, kind of gently massage it in, and then top that with my cream because I still, like I said, need that moisturizing step. It does have a scent that's kind of like a very faint herbal marijuana type scent, but it's not very strong and it doesn't last a long time. I noticed a significant decrease in redness and just that irritability in my skin when using this. I think now that it's been several years since I've basically gotten a handle on my skin and it's in a really good sort of homeostasis right now. I didn't have a huge return of redness or anything like that when I stopped using it, but when I started I was still more, my skin still had more irritation. Like I said, that was over a year ago when I started using this, and so I did notice a significant reduction, and that's why I continued to use it. So I'll likely go back to it in the future. Like I said, I just wanted to take a break from a product with CBD in the ingredient list for now, but I highly recommend Flora & Bast. You can get it on their website or through Sephora. You can buy the mini size to sample it, and then if you like it, go for the big one. They've got more products out now. I think they have a moisturizer too, which I haven't tried, but really love this brand. So there is a second CBD oil that I tried that I had good results with, but I did not like as much as the Flora & Bast, and it is the Lord Jones Royal Oil. I got this mini size from Sephora using some points because I was just curious to compare the two. Now this, instead of the fractionated coconut oil, has a grapeseed oil base, so I also wanted to try it because I know not everybody gets along with coconut oil, although I feel that the type of refined coconut that they use in Flora & Bast is quite different than like solidified coconut oil that sometimes you might find in makeup products that can be irritating or pore clogging, because I have reacted negatively to some makeup products with coconut oil in the past, and I really had a wonderful experience with the Flora & Bast. But I wanted to give this one a go anyway. It is a thicker consistency than the Flora & Bast. The Flora & Bast is really thin and spreadable but hydrating. This one is a bit thicker more similar in density to the Kahina Argan Oil. And again, it does have that herbal marijuana type scent because of the CBD infusion. So it's hard for me to say because I had already been using the Florin Bass, so my level of inflammation and redness was so much lower already that it's not a fair comparison because I didn't notice too much of a difference with this, but again, my tolerance or my irritation level had been lowered so much that it's not really fair. So I'll just speak to the texture and the consistency of it. Like I said, it is thicker, it's a bit more moisturizing, so if that is something your skin needs, you might prefer this one, or if you're really trying to avoid coconut oil, you might prefer this to the Florin Bass. But for me, and maybe it's just because it was my first experience with CBD, was using the Florin Bass, and I had such a good experience with that, that I think that's the one I would continue to buy. It also is less expensive by about, I think, $30. I think it's $70, and this one is about $100 for the full size. I also know Florin Bass has lots of coupons. Often they're doing 20 or 30% off. So that one is a bit more affordable, although they are both expensive. They last a really long time, at least the way I use them. So Lord Jones could be another good option if you're interested in trying CBD. But again, just like with the Florin Bass, I would recommend getting a mini size and going from there. The next oil states specifically that it is for rosacea-prone skin. It is called My Havtorn. It's a Swedish brand, and it has sea buckthorn oil. So this blend that's specifically for rosacea is, I believe, 50-50 argan and sea buckthorn. So this was recommended to me by an online beauty boutique called Ayla that's up in San Francisco that I really like, and they sell Marie Veronique. So I got, again, a mini size to try it out. This was, I think, $15. And I was excited because I'd heard such good things and read good reviews, and also because I knew it was 50% argan, which I have such a good experience with consistently. So I was curious because sea buckthorn is purportedly a major anti-inflammatory and really, really beneficial for skin with rosacea. So this oil is just those two ingredients. It's a bright orange color. See if you can see it here. There's just the dregs of it. You can kind of see it's a pretty bright orange color. Sea buckthorn has this really interesting scent. There's no essential oils in this, but the sea buckthorn itself has an interesting scent. It's kind of like olives and something fruity mixed together. I think it's nice, and it doesn't last. The scent doesn't last very long. This oil is medium thickness, similar to the Argan Oil, and I didn't notice anything incredible from it. Now, again, like when I was using the Lord Jones, I had already been using Flora and Bass for a while, so it's possible that I could have noticed more significant results if I was using this starting from a time when I had more irritation. So what I can say is that it didn't cause irritation, and the bright orange color, doesn't last. It doesn't stain your skin or anything like that. It has that nice medium weight consistency and that nice kind of interesting earthy fruity scent to it. However, it didn't blow my mind. It's quite expensive. I think it's, $50 or $60 for, I think, a half ounce. So that would be akin to the Lord Jones, where it's more of like $100 bottle of oil, which really is just beyond my price range. So I was glad to try a mini, because if it really was a miracle worker for me, maybe I would have found a way to, save up and buy it. But yeah, it didn't work for me. That doesn't mean it won't work for you. So I would definitely recommend considering investigating oils that have sea buckthorn in them, because apparently it's supposed to be really, really good for skin with rosacea. I just didn't notice anything special or different from using Squalane or Argan or the CBD. The last oil is the most complex in the sense that it has the most ingredients and it has a stronger scent, although it is essential oil free. The oil is called Olina, and it is by the brand Honua, which is a Hawaiian skincare brand. I had used this oil several years ago before my skin started getting hypersensitive and I developed rosacea. And I used it specifically in the summer when I was swimming in an outdoor pool a lot, and I fell in love with this oil then. I felt like it really calmed and cooled my skin after a swim and just really helped with that heightened sun exposure I was getting at the time. So, it has turmeric in it. And it's a really interesting oil because they create it through this traditional Hawaiian extraction method where I think they basically slow soak the ingredients they use, which are turmeric, cacao, and noni fruit, which gives it vitamin C content. They slow soak that in the oils, which are macadamia oil and I think kukui nut. And it's supposed to be really, really medicinal and very, very anti-inflammatory. And I think the description says something along the lines of getting to the root of all inflammatory conditions, including acne, rosacea, hypersensitive skin, things like that. So since I had that really good experience with it in the past, I wanted to try it again because it was on sale on Beauty Heroes. For a really, really good price. I think it was $22 during this special sale they were having, so I figured I'd just buy it and test it out. I'm still playing around with it, so my thoughts aren't fully formed. What I've been doing with it so far, I did do my patch testing and it was fine, and so what I've been doing is adding just a drop of it and then a drop of argan to my lotion or my moisturizer. A couple of times I have put 2 drops of this into my moisturizer, and I do get a slight tingle on those nights. Now the next morning my skin looks good. It looks calm, moisturized, all those things, nothing out of the ordinary. But that might just be because it is a more active oil. It has the noni, which has a vitamin C component, and then the turmeric and stuff. So I'm still playing around with it and seeing where it can fit in my skincare, or if it does in fact fit in my skincare routine. So let's talk about the scent, because that's the really prominent thing. It has a really interesting earthy, spicy scent. Almost like if you've ever been to like an Indian grocery store and you're really smelling that mix of the spices and it's turmeric heavy, kind of has a scent like that. I like it. I know I've read reviews where people have called it like skunky or things like that. I don't really see that at all to me, or smell that at all. It just smells earthy. I can really pick up the turmeric in it, and I like it. So that's not a problem for me, and I'm not worried because it doesn't have essential oils added to it. The fragrance is coming just from those whole plants that are being extracted. I do think there is a range of getting your skin back on track where you need to go really basic and bland, like dermatologists suggest, before you can step up and try a product like this. At least that's what I believe worked for me. So going really, really bland right in the beginning. And now that my skin, like I said earlier, has this really solid homeostasis, I can start to explore with more active products like this, or like the Marie Veronique Vitamin C Serum, which I did a quick review of last week, to add more antioxidants and a little bit more of things that are active into my skincare. So I'll report back after I've played with this for a few more months. I have high hopes for it, but I'm not quite sure yet because I'm trying to get to the bottom of that tingling sensation, and if that's just something because it's a new product that's happening, or if it's because it's active, and if it's going to be something that irritates me in the long run or not. So to be determined, but this might be one to look into, especially if you can get a smaller size. Alright, that's it for today. 6 oils that are rosacea skin friendly. At the end of the day, I would highly recommend that if you're interested in trying an oil, you first start with a single oil. Argan or Squalane would be my picks. And then after that, if you see that your skin does well with oils in general and that you do have room for them in your simplified skincare routine, then you could branch out. Try a CBD oil if you're, open to that, or maybe try the Honua or the My Have Torn or some other oil. I know that Weleda has an oil for sensitive skin that has a plum extract. That sounds really lovely. Another oil I'm curious about is by Laurel Whole Plant Organics. Now this one does have a very, very small concentration of essential oils, and it also has quite a few plant extracts and herbs that are infused into the oil. So I haven't tread into that territory yet, but it's specifically made for skin with rosacea. It's called the Unburden Oil. So I'm interested to try that perhaps someday in the future now that my skin is more naturally balanced, to see if I could add something like that, because the herbal component to it sounds very healing and is interesting to me. But I'll always have argan and or squalane in my kit, and I think you should too. Let me know below if you have an oil that is your go-to or any other oils that you're curious to try. Don't forget to like and subscribe and stay tuned for more content from Sense and Sensitivity. Thanks, and take care.